Oh my goodness, am I really here with the Dr. Eric Roman? Hi, Eric. How are
Hey,
you?
Victoria, it is so great to be here with you. And my, oh my, we got some exciting stuff to talk about, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Hey, guys, we thought we would take a minute just to bring you behind the scenes. We are vigorously planning for the 20th anniversary productivity workshop in September in Frisco. And Eric is going to take the stage as part of our clinical calibration course for young doctors. Eric, tell us about the course that you're doing here at our program.
Victoria, what we're talking about is how young doctors, and honestly, doctors at any stage of their development, can calibrate their life to their professional career, calibrating your life and your career. Because one of the challenges I've had the joy over my journey. By the way, Victoria, I don't know that a lot of people know, I actually attended the PDA workshop before I started practicing dentistry. Like I was still in residency at the time. And so my entire life has been productive. Right?
I remember you couldn't even grow a beard back then.
Couldn't even grow it. No, I might have had like 2 little blonde facial hairs. How times have changed, right? And so, it had such a massive impact on me throughout my career in PDA. So what a really cool fitting way to hopefully channel some of that incredible career opportunity to the audience and the attendees. One of the things that I found in coaching and hiring well more than triple digits of associates and teaching clinical directors, we've got a really hard space inside of our profession right now with the plight of the employed dentist, the dental associate. And we have extraordinarily high turnover. We have ridiculously poor data. And what that really means is that our young doctors aren't getting what they wanted out of their career. And the second thing that I discovered is that financial success does not translate into people getting what they want out of their lives. And if we can't connect our financial success and our performance in doing good while we're doing good in our practices to getting what we want out of our incredible lives, my Victoria, like, why are we doing this in the first place? So I'm going to give all the attendees some really tactical strategies to be able to take back and put into their lives ASAP so that they're going to get what they want out of their dental career.
Oh man, I love that so much. Well, thank you so much for being a part of it. In September, this whole program, the first of its kind in the nation, because it's coming from PDA and we've never done this before, but it is a program specific to associate doctors. So if you're an owner and you're contemplating hiring an associate, or you've just hired an associate, your associate is stuck in their productivity at 200, 300, 400 an hour, something like 3,000 a day. We can boost that. We can accelerate that and quickly get your associates up to speed where they're producing like an owner. But more importantly, they've got life balance and they're grounded in their happiness in their career. Dr. David Port talks about that a lot, his research study and his doctorate degree, the value creation for doctors. And it really is about values alignment between the work I love and the life I'm building. And so, Eric, there is no one better in our industry, whether you're young or young at heart, that couldn't benefit from your one life system and making sure that your life path is aligned with your career path. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Victoria. I'm excited to see you and the team in September and can't wait to see who else is going to be joining us there. It's going to be an event that you don't want to miss. So here's your chance. Sign your butt up and get out there. We'll see you in Texas.
Doctor, are you living the dream or just dreaming of living? It is my honor to announce the PDA 20th Anniversary Special Conference this September 12th to the 14th in Frisco, Texas, the nation's leading course on dental practice growth. If you feel isolated as a leader who is frustrated that your schedule is unproductive, maybe your team is disjointed, or your systems are inefficient, this is the conference for you. The PDA 20th Anniversary Conference has all new features, including keynote speaker Emmitt Smith, who is a Pro Football Hall of Fame running back and entrepreneur. You can choose your own educational track to customize your learning experience. Go to www.productivedentist.com and click the pop-up or select Productive Dentist Academy Conference under the Dental CE and Events tab. That's www.productivedentist.com. Seating is limited. Register today, and we look forward to helping you make your dreams become reality. I now see the world from such a different viewpoint, and I realize that I am supported in all ways, and that is not a stigma. That is to be celebrated.
Welcome to Investment Grade Practices Podcast, where we believe private practice dentists deserve to get the lifestyle today while building an asset for tomorrow. Join your host, Victoria Peterson, to design the practice of your dreams and secure your financial independence. Let's get started.
Doctor, how often, I mean, realistically, really ask yourself this question. How often have you taken the DIY approach when it comes to growing your practice? The doctors that I have talked to, by and large, have often said, I can do this myself. I can take an online course. I can get into a message forum. I can sort of kick the tires, take a look and try this. How hard can it really be anyway? Unfortunately, oftentimes that takes us down the path of spinning our wheels, being busy without being productive. And then they end up, ending up on our laps and attending a productivity conference, and the rest is sort of history. So this is our fourth part of our four-part series of Regan Robertson with Everyday Practices Dental Podcast and Victoria Peterson, the fantastical podcast collaboration of investment grade practices coming together to talk about above and below the line communication in your practice. This particular series is all about support, because success requires support. Victoria Peterson, welcome to our collaboration and final part of our series.
Hello, Regan. You sound exceptionally podcasty today.
You got to turn it on for the beginning,
That's right. I love this topic so much. I think I first heard the phrase success requires support from one of my coaches, Kendra Thornberry, and it just made so much sense to me. And I think we think about support, just in dentistry with our team around us, right? My assistant is great, my office manager is great, and all of that. But in investment grade practices, we really expand the geography, if you will, of what support looks like in your life. Because as an owner, employee, producer, you cannot separate the stress and fatigue of your personal life from the stress and fatigue of your professional life. So in today's environment, particularly post-pandemic, it requires more support.
I have a definite confession that for many years in my professional development, I had the stick. I carried the stick that I can do it myself. I can do it myself, and there was honor in doing it myself. And I can't tell you exactly when or what day, if it was a flash of lightning where that started to change. I think it was probably a series of small steps that I took over time. But I now see the world from such a different viewpoint, and I realize that I am supported in all ways, and that is not a stigma. That is to be celebrated. And I am a piece of something bigger. And some of the errors that I made along the way, also in that mindset of individual contributor, meaning I do it all on myself, I robbed others of the opportunity to support me. And I made my life that much harder. It was a really big moment for me to say, okay, I need support. I don't need it. I deserve it.
Oh, I'm reflecting back of when you moved into your first management position with us. And I know I've told this story before and you're going to want me to stop telling it, but it's just a milestone of growth where, support means holding people accountable to support. And I remember the end of the day and you were like, oh, I'm just so burned out and I got to do my things, but this person left and now I'm going to have to do her things too. And I'm like, there's still 2 hours left in the workday. She literally lives 2 blocks from the office. Let's go down and tell her she didn't finish her job. And you were like, no, I'll do it myself.
Oh, yes.
I see a lot of leaders do that, and young and old. Like, it's that mindset of, if you want it done right, do it yourself. The only
Mhm.
person I can depend on is myself. These are as deeply ingrained in us, a personal responsibility for professionals, in the dental space level. Some of those things are so deeply ingrained in, just like our money myths of money doesn't grow on trees and you must be a greedy person if you're that wealthy and all of that. So there's a lot of internal reflection about where your beliefs and your deserve comes from. But a great
Yeah.
point that with support comes accountability, and replacing your wishbone, oh, I wish they would do this and I wish they would do that, with true backbone of, this is the expectation, this is how we measure it, and this is where we'll check in on it. It goes back to the last podcast about cadence. So
Mhm.
there's employee, cadence to it. I also like to extend that outwardly. I expect my lab to get my cases to me on time, if not a day before. I would
Right.
pay a little extra to get that case in. I expect that case to seat with little to no adjustments. I'll grade that lab 1, 2, or 3. Took 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minutes. I'm going to reject it after that. So support means setting the standard and holding those accountable to that standard. It doesn't mean like, well, I guess that's, my CPA hasn't sent me a P&L in 3 months. Well, fire your CPA. Right? Tell them to I need support, and you work for me. And I know that sounds so simple. I was just talking to Grace Yum about this on her podcast, and particularly female dentists. Well, I can't say it's exception to women, but you need to get in the habit of saying, I'm sorry, our agreement was that you would have my financials to me by the 5th of the month. If for any reason you can't, please let me know. I absolutely have to have them by the 10th. There's
Mhm.
no exceptions. That's support. Otherwise, you're just begging people to do their job and you're chasing them, or you're putting your employees in the cart and pushing it uphill for them.
And we're
I
not here to be martyrs. That should not
no,
be.
no, I had to learn that lesson the hard way. I remember, 25 years ago, looking at one of my very first hires, and I said, "What part of your job do I need to do so you could do these important things for me?" Sarcastically, but the sarcasm was so, like, sarcasm as a leadership tool does not work. And she was like, "Oh my God, you're such a great boss. Here, take this." And I was like, No, I was kidding. Like,
Ugh.
all of these things are your job, right? So you do have to be a direct communicator in expectations.
This reminds me of speaking of Skip Miller, since this 4-part series is the above the below line, translation to dental practices. I thought of Skip Miller's Value Star.
Mm.
And I peruse the dental forums. I definitely am a lurker, longtime lurker, never a poster, but I do want to know. I always have my ear to what dentists are talking about and what they're saying. And one thing that does continue to fascinate me, this goes back to the DIY approach and the lowest level, I would say, of a quality measure on the value star is the lack of willingness to invest. So one of the threads that I was on was about practice consulting. How can I either just do it myself, or how can I do it as cheap as possible? Who's the cheapest dental consultant? And I was honestly, I genuinely wanted to reach out and call them on the phone and say, can you even walk me through what this looks like? Because I would never want to go to a doctor and say, give me the cheapest doctor I can find for my health. So a mind shift, like a mindset shift for me, and if you've listened to Everyday Practices, my journey was investing in myself and telling myself that I am worthy of high quality care. I am worthy of the best, and your business should be no different. So if you are stingy about seeking support and you are automatically thinking about cost as opposed to an investment and what it means, that could be a red flag for you to go internal and start to reflect on the success that you want to achieve, and then what your factors are leading up to that. Because I think that is another area where success requires support, but which support and who are you choosing and why?
Well, and I think cost is a big factor that keeps people from reaching out for support. I know one of the tenets that we talk about here at PDA when we're doing discovery calls is there a $300,000 problem to solve? You don't hire a consultant at, a premium consultant unless you're solving big problems. So if you want the cheapest consultant, maybe it's like I have a quick fix, inexpensive problem. So I know that my phone conversion is poor. Everything else in my practice is terrific, but that one new employee needs that one thing. Then I'm probably going to go on and find a virtual training, $250, get them up to speed, a little bit of mentorship. So it really does break down into what problems am I trying to solve. I don't know that person's problems that they were trying to solve, but bringing in consulting at that level, you have to say, is there a gap between where I'm at and where I want to go? And how quickly do I want to accelerate the process? So consulting should always accelerate the process, help you get to a place where you've never been before, and therefore you don't know the path and you don't know how to get there. So you're leaning into the experience of others.
Oh,
And
so good.
you should be solving global problems with that. Same thing with your CPA. At some point, you're going to up level. You're going to go from a simple Quicken to QuickBooks Online to Sage Intacct. You're going to go from mom and pop CPA that files your taxes to something more of a financial planner, tax planning. Then you're going to get into more estate planning. So your advisor should grow with you
Yes.
as you mature in your career, as you mature in your practice. The CPA that you started with is likely not the CPA you'll end your career with, but we form such deep relationships and it becomes very difficult to say, I'm sorry, mom, you can't pay my bills anymore. I've got to get a true professional to do this. And for smaller practices, I think it's great that doctors review and pay all their bills. For larger practices, you're going to want to have a comptroller that you entrust with that, but set up paying them for yourself for a while, then you know what to expect. Remember, inspect what you expect. You've got to learn enough to set the expectations, delegate it, and then come back and check into it.
That's a powerful exercise that you just gave everyone, to write down the problem and the value that that problem represents in the practice, and use that as a filter to think about the level of solution that you want to engage in. I'm going to throw one little wrench in there that I think is interesting, though, because I have seen this with many dentists. The problem that they are focused on and think they have is a symptom of something systemic that is much greater.
Yes.
And one of the counterintuitive ways, especially around the cost discussion, I don't have the money, but I need 60 new patients, but I don't have the money. I think my team is doing reviews and referrals. I mean, they say they are. Where can we go from there? And I can only see things now from a comprehensive perspective. So PDA has blessed and cursed me with this. I can only see it from the entire business perspective. And so having that level of support, even if, I mean, I'm riffing with you, but if I identified, okay, my phone conversion is down, if I'm that Loctite, maybe just one course would do it. Chances are you might not be that quite Loctite. You're focusing on taking great care of patients, and I doubt you're in every element of the business. It would probably be worthy to invest in a consulting session, in a big 90-minute or even an analysis to kind of tell me everything. And I look at this very selfishly from my own personal health perspective. I want to know everything that's going on comprehensively because I want the best chance for long-term success. And doctors, I know you want the long-term game. You want to create and maximize the value of your practice. So would that be a success recommendation that you would make, Victoria, is perhaps engage in an analysis or something like that?
Yeah, just like your annual physical, have an annual health checkup. And we do that all the time. We do it for free. Just call Brent and he'll walk through areas and it's mind blowing. It's like, wow, I had no idea I had $2.3 million in unscheduled treatment. I had no idea that only 2% of our patients were engaged in perio. No wonder we're not filling the hygiene book, or we're missing radiographs, or, all of those kind of little things those really add up over time. And so, yeah, there's lots of services to have a practice checkup. And I think
Mhm.
that's highly, highly valuable. And you'd want to do that before you engaged in support anyway. I know our time is coming to a close here, but I also want to talk about the personal support. Uh,
Yes.
oh my gosh, we I don't know. I hope everybody has some type of domestic support. Like when you're off work, are you working out because that energizes you, or are you resting because that energizes you, or are you stumbling over the Legos and picking up kids' toys and mowing the grass? Like if mowing the grass is meditative and you love it, do it. I had one client who had 100 acres. He loved to jump on the tractor. That was his thing. But if it's less than what you produce and collect per hour, like you're at least $400 an hour, 600, 800, $1,000 an hour. If there are things at home that can be done, picking up the kids, doing this or that, first identify your core values and what means the most to you. If picking up the kids is the most important part of your day, don't compromise that. But maybe you have a meal service that, has, I don't even know what those are. We don't have those here in Hawaii, but do something to
It's called go out to your backyard and pick something from the tree.
right. So yeah, there's a mango in season. But don't be afraid to have a housekeeper come in as often as you need them, even though now they're 40 or $50 an hour.
Yeah.
What is that going to do for your peace of mind? What is that going to do for your life balance? Don't be afraid to invest in your own physical health. I was just reading an article the other day, and I think this is why I love the Agoscu method. We've brought them into our conferences before. Can't remember what publication just came out of it, but the article was, um, is your exercise routine hurting you as a dentist?
Wow.
Most trainers and most gyms put you through a standard, build your quads, build your, they're working on peripheral bodybuilding sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Dentistry needs the opposite of what you would do at a normal training piece
My
because
gosh.
our posture is so collapsed. We
Right.
need exercises that open things up. We need hip flexors and different things like that. So you need to be really specific about, I'm in dentistry and I need support. That's the number one thing that causes disability, right? It's your neck, it's your wrist, it's your back, it's your hips. So find Agoscu trainers or find people, there are ergonomic people in dentistry who talk about chair ergonomics and things like that. Those are the things that give you career longevity. So we've mostly been talking about financial support, workflow support, clean my house support, but you are an athlete and your body mechanics are key to longevity in your career.
Man, you just had me thinking of two exercises I would have people like you could do it right now. You taught me this in a little breakfast nook 14 or 15 years ago, and you called it the wheel. I think the wagon wheel is what it was. And there is a center. So draw a little circle and then draw, a bigger circle outside of that and your spokes. And in between each spoke represents a facet of your life. So in Victoria, when you walked me through this, it was my career and it was the skill set that I had in my career. And I ranked myself from least skilled to most experienced. So if you can envision this circle with all these little pie pieces in it here and say one of them is communication, you would rank yourself. I'm solid at it. I'm like a 5 out of a 10. You would just like draw in half of that little pie. And then you go around your entire one and you fill it in. And usually, if you're being really honest, you'll find that wagon wheel is a little chunky. It's not going to give you a smooth ride, but the goal is to have it fleshed out to where you feel like you are living life in a balanced way. It's a very rudimentary way to feel balanced. And I highly recommend that. I read the book Margin with Chad Johnson, and that was a really good one because he helped separate out into buckets our own health. So there's our physical health, there is our spiritual health, there's our mental health. And so in these different buckets of what matters to us, you could rank yourself. How do I feel in each of these areas? And the trick here is to honor each of these individual buckets and not starve yourself. And so that can help inform where you might want to focus your support. And you can do the same for your business on your own without an analysis, but it can give you an idea of where you might want to start prioritizing where
We-
you look for support.
You know what we could do is we could put this as a download in our show notes. Brent does this as he's onboarding new clients. That's the first thing we send out is the wheel of life and what's working and not working in your life. And we could offer that for anybody who's listened to our 4-part series here. What a way to celebrate.
Absolutely. We will do that. That sounds like a really great path to get our listeners aligned. Just do a little summer refresh, see how you're feeling. And
you know, there's also a pace and priority questionnaire in there. I call it the procrastinators quiz. It's officially called pace and priorities. So yeah, we could put those 3 documents together and give that to listeners. Just email us and we'll zip it on over.
Well, thank you. My summary is you deserve support. Everyone deserves support. Do not put yourself last. Do not cheapen the experience. You deserve, with high quality support that you vet out and you choose, yields higher quality results. And PDA has taught me that where you focus your investment is where you can get the longest value to maximize your value over time. And I think that is my takeaway from my session with you. Final thoughts, Victoria?
I love this so much. I wish we were podcasting together all the time.
I'm sure we'll be together again. Well, thank you for listening to our 4-part series, Above the Line and Below the Line. If you would love to see Victoria and I speak in person, ask us all of the questions. We are both presenters at PDA's 20th anniversary conference this September 12th to the 14th. We have curriculum that is one time only there. We have Emmett Smith. He is the Pro Football Hall of Famer, entrepreneurial, and I believe winner of Dancing with the Stars. We have brand new curriculum, including Clinical Calibration Institute, which is insane. And I'm going to put that link in the show notes as well. So if you'd like to see us, go to productivedentist.com and you can check us out. I know we're almost sold out, so go ahead and register fast. We'll see you there.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Investment Grade Practices Podcast. If you find value in this episode, help us spread the word by passing it along to a dental friend, subscribe, and give us a like on iTunes or Spotify. Learn more about building your investment grade practice at productivedentist.com today.